Have you ever wondered why some people stand tall in the face of chaos while others crumble? Why, in the storms of life, a select few emerge stronger, more focused, unshaken? It's not luck, it's discipline. It's not fate, it's philosophy. The ancient Stoics mastered something most people never dare to confront: the art of control. Control over their emotions, their actions, their fate. And today, I'm giving you the tools to do the same. These are not just theories. These are 32 hard truths. Rules for life, forged by the greatest minds to ever walk this earth: Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius. These rules are not suggestions. They are necessities if you want to survive and thrive in a world full of uncertainty, chaos, and distraction. What I'm about to share will challenge you. It will force you to take a hard look in the mirror and confront the person you are today. But if you're ready, if you're serious about taking control of your life and stepping into your full potential, then this is your moment. The world is waiting. Are you ready to face it? Let's dive into the 32 rules of Stoic philosophy that will change the way you live, think, and act. Rule 1. Focus only on what you can control. This is the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy and arguably the most empowering mindset shift anyone can make. The understanding that the only things truly within our control are our thoughts, actions, and responses to the world. Everything else, external circumstances, other people's opinions, the outcomes of our efforts, are beyond our influence. By accepting this, you liberate yourself from the stress, anxiety, and frustration that come from trying to control the uncontrollable. In life, so much of our emotional turmoil stems from clinging to the illusion that we can manage or influence things outside of our reach. We try to force outcomes, control how others see us, or manipulate situations to go exactly as we plan. But what happens when reality doesn't cooperate? We become anxious, stressed, and frustrated. This is because we've placed our happiness and peace in things that are fundamentally out of our hands. The Stoics remind us that real power lies in focusing on what is within our control, and that is where we should direct all of our energy. Take a moment to reflect on this. How many of the things that trouble you on a daily basis are things you can actually change? The weather? The behavior of your coworkers or family? The economy? These are all external factors that, no matter how much effort you exert, remain beyond your influence. But what can you control? Your reaction to the weather, how you handle difficult people, and how you choose to respond to economic uncertainty. This is where your real power lies, and it's within this small circle of control that Stoic wisdom encourages you to live. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This quote underscores the idea that our peace of mind, our happiness, and our strength come from within. When you focus only on what you can control, you become unshakable. External events no longer dictate your emotions. Instead, you learn to govern your own inner state regardless of what's happening around you. Imagine going through a stressful day at work. Projects are delayed, clients are unhappy, and everything feels like it's spiraling out of control. If you're focusing on all these external pressures, you're bound to feel overwhelmed. But a Stoic would advise you to stop, take a step back, and ask yourself, what can I control in this situation? You can control your attitude, your effort, and how you respond to the chaos. By focusing on these, you reclaim your sense of peace and become more effective in handling the situation. You stop wasting energy on things you can't change and put it where it matters. This shift in perspective doesn't just apply to the big challenges in life. It's a practice for daily living. From the small frustrations of traffic jams to more significant life events like job loss or personal setbacks. When you adopt the mindset of focusing only on what you can control, you free yourself from a lot of unnecessary suffering. You're no longer a victim of circumstance, but an active agent shaping your own life through your responses and actions. The Stoics understood that this practice requires discipline and constant awareness. Our minds naturally want to fixate on external events, but by training ourselves to redirect our attention inward, to our own actions, thoughts, and responses, we become stronger, more resilient, and ultimately more content. In summary, focusing only on what you can control is about reclaiming your power. It's about directing your energy to where it will make the most difference. Your own thoughts and actions. By letting go of the need to control everything around you, you find peace, clarity, and a deeper sense of personal strength. It's not the external world that determines your happiness, but how you choose to engage with it. Rule 2. Embrace adversity as an opportunity. Adversity is one of life's most difficult teachers, but in the Stoic mindset, it's also one of the most valuable. The Stoics saw hardship not as something to avoid, but as an essential component of personal growth and resilience. To embrace adversity is to shift your mindset from one of fear and avoidance to one of strength and opportunity. When you understand that the obstacles you face are not merely stumbling blocks, but stepping stones to greatness, you begin to see adversity in a whole new light. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus famously said, "Difficulties show a person's character." It's easy to maintain composure and confidence when everything is going well, but it is in moments of hardship where your true character is revealed. Adversity strips away the superficial layers, exposing who you really are and what you're capable of. When you face a challenge head-on, you not only learn more about yourself, but you also strengthen your resilience, your determination, and your capacity for future challenges. Why is adversity so important? The Stoics believed that adversity forces us to confront the limits of our control. In Stoic philosophy, we can only control our thoughts, emotions, and actions. Everything else, outcomes, other people, external events, are beyond our control. When adversity strikes, it's a stark reminder that we must focus on what we can influence and let go of the rest. It teaches us to act rather than react, to make thoughtful decisions rather than be swept away by emotion or fear. This is the essence of Stoic resilience, remaining unmoved by external circumstances while staying true to your principles. Moreover, adversity strengthens the mind just as physical exercise strengthens the body. Each challenge you face is an opportunity to train your mental fortitude. The more you embrace and engage with difficult situations, the more you build your inner strength. Seneca likened adversity to a fire, saying, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Just as a fire consumes obstacles and grows stronger, so too does the Stoic mindset thrive on difficulty. Every hardship, big or small, is a chance to refine your character and reinforce your values. But embracing adversity does not mean passively accepting misfortune or suffering unnecessarily. It's about changing your perspective. Instead of seeing hardship as a punishment or a sign of failure, recognize it as an opportunity for growth. When you adopt this mindset, even the toughest moments in life carry potential. Each setback becomes a lesson, each failure a foundation for success. It's also important to understand that embracing adversity doesn't require immediate mastery. The Stoics didn't expect people to be unaffected by challenges, only to learn from them. You might not always handle adversity with perfect grace, and that's okay. What matters is the effort to grow from the experience, to look back and say, "I handled that better than I would have before." Each time you face adversity and come out stronger, you build a reservoir of courage and resilience that will serve you in future trials. In modern life, adversity can come in many forms: financial struggles, relationship difficulties, professional setbacks, or health issues. No matter the challenge, the Stoic approach remains the same. Confront it with courage, accept it as part of life's natural ebb and flow, and use it as an opportunity to better yourself. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "How can I grow from this?" Ultimately, adversity is inevitable, but suffering is optional. By embracing hardship as a tool for growth, you reclaim power over your circumstances. You become not just someone who survives challenges, but someone who thrives because of them. This is the true essence of Stoic strength, the ability to see adversity not as a threat, but as a powerful opportunity for transformation. Rule 3. Practice self-discipline. Self-discipline is at the heart of Stoic philosophy, and when practiced relentlessly, it becomes a guiding force for a life of strength, control, and purpose. The Stoics believe that without self-discipline, we are like a ship without a rudder, constantly tossed around by external forces, desires, and distractions. To live a meaningful and fulfilling life, we must develop the ability to master ourselves and direct our actions in alignment with our values and goals. Why is self-discipline so crucial? It's simple. Self-discipline gives you the power to make the right choices, even when they're the hardest to make. Life is full of temptations, distractions, and impulses that can lead you off course. Without the ability to control your impulses, it's easy to give in to short-term pleasure, even at the expense of long-term fulfillment. Think of the times when you've procrastinated, indulged in unhealthy habits, or let your emotions dictate your actions. Each of those moments represents a failure to exercise self-discipline, and in the long run, these failures accumulate to create a life of regret and missed opportunities. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most prominent Stoic philosophers, reminded us of the power of self-discipline in his Meditations. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When you practice self-discipline, you regain control over your own mind. It allows you to stand firm in your decisions, no matter how difficult or uncomfortable they may be, and stay on the path toward your higher purpose. The relentless pursuit of self-discipline doesn't mean perfection. It's about consistently making small, intentional choices that move you in the right direction. This means holding yourself accountable to a standard of behavior that is in line with your values. It requires honesty with yourself, recognizing your weaknesses, and being willing to do the hard work to overcome them. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, taught that no man is free who is not master of himself. Freedom, in the Stoic sense, comes not from external circumstances, but from the mastery of your own desires and actions. How do you cultivate relentless self-discipline? It begins with setting clear goals and understanding why they are important. If your goals lack meaning, it will be easy to abandon them when challenges arise. But when you tie your goals to a deeper purpose, whether it's personal growth, service to others, or the pursuit of wisdom, you'll find the motivation to persevere, even when the path is difficult. Break your goals down into daily habits. Self-discipline thrives in routine. The more you practice doing the right thing, the easier it becomes. Whether it's waking up early, exercising, eating healthily, or dedicating time to learning, these small, disciplined actions compound over time to create significant changes in your life. At the same time, learn to be resilient in the face of setbacks. There will be times when you fail to live up to your own standards. This is natural and human. What matters most is how you respond to those failures. Do not fall into the trap of self-criticism or shame. Instead, treat every setback as an opportunity to learn and grow stronger. Each time you get back up and try again, you strengthen your ability to remain disciplined in the future. The benefits of relentless self-discipline are profound. Over time, you'll develop a deep sense of inner strength and confidence. You'll know that you are capable of facing challenges, making sacrifices, and achieving the things that truly matter to you. You'll become less susceptible to external influences and more rooted in your own values. This will not only lead to greater personal fulfillment, but also inspire those around you to live with more intention and purpose. In a world filled with distractions and temptations, relentless self-discipline is a rare and powerful virtue. It's the key to unlocking your potential, creating a life of meaning, skis, and embodying the Stoic ideal of mastery over oneself. Practice it daily, and you'll see how it transforms both your inner world and the way you navigate the world around you. Rule 4. Detach from outcomes. Detaching from outcomes is one of the most powerful Stoic practices you can implement in your life. It might sound counterintuitive at first, because we are often taught to focus on results and to measure success by the final outcome. However, the Stoic approach tells us something radically different. Focus on your actions, not on what happens afterward. Stoicism teaches that the only thing we truly control is our own effort, our thoughts, actions, and decisions. We do not control how those actions will play out in the world. This idea is key, because if we base our happiness or sense of success on external results, we are setting ourselves up for frustration and disappointment. External outcomes are subject to countless variables: other people's choices, unexpected events, circumstances beyond our control. Therefore, attaching ourselves to these outcomes puts us at the mercy of forces we cannot influence. What does it mean to detach from outcomes? Detachment from outcomes does not mean you stop caring or striving for excellence. Quite the opposite. It means you give your best effort in everything you do, but you don't let the final result determine your peace of mind. You invest in the process, the journey, the actions themselves, but you let go of the need to control or be attached to what happens afterward. In this way, you shield yourself from disappointment, frustration, or despair when things don't go as planned. Imagine you're preparing for a major job interview or an important presentation. You might spend days rehearsing, preparing your materials, and doing everything within your power to succeed. But no matter how much effort you put in, you cannot guarantee the outcome. The employer's decision, external circumstances, or unforeseen factors may derail your plans. If you cling to the outcome, if your happiness or sense of success depends on getting the job, you're putting yourself at risk of emotional turmoil if it doesn't go your way. The Stoic approach would advise you to focus on what you can control: your preparation, your effort, your mindset, and release your attachment to whether you get the job or not. This isn't about being passive or indifferent. It's about recognizing the limits of your influence and maintaining peace regardless of the result. Why is this important? Detaching from outcomes frees you from the emotional roller coaster of success and failure. When you are overly attached to specific outcomes, you live in a constant state of anxiety, worrying about what might happen. When things don't go your way, the disappointment can be crushing. You feel like a failure, not because your effort wasn't good, but because the external outcome didn't match your expectations. On the flip side, if you achieve your goal, you might feel elated, but this is often temporary. Achieving one goal quickly leads to a new set of desires, and the cycle continues. You're always chasing the next thing, never finding lasting contentment. The Stoic practice of detaching from outcomes breaks this cycle. It allows you to remain steady and grounded no matter what happens. You maintain your inner peace, knowing you've done your best. This is the essence of detachment. Strength comes from within, from how you respond to life, not from the external events themselves. How to practice detachment from outcomes. Start by being mindful of where you place your emotional investment. Are you tied to a specific result, or are you focused on giving your best effort? When you feel anxious or frustrated about something beyond your control, remind yourself of the Stoic principle. Do what you can with what you have, where you are, and let the rest go. Next, practice letting go of expectations. After you've done your part, whether in a project, a conversation, or a challenge, mentally release the outcome. Tell yourself, I've done everything I can, now I release the result. By doing this regularly, you'll cultivate a mindset that is resilient and adaptable, able to face whatever life throws at you without losing your sense of balance. In short, detaching from outcomes doesn't mean you stop trying. It means you free yourself from being emotionally dependent on external results. You focus on the process, give it your all, and trust that whatever happens, you'll be okay. This is the Stoic way: grounded, resilient, and ultimately empowered. Rule 5. Guard your inner peace. Guarding your inner peace is a fundamental principle in Stoic philosophy and one of the most valuable skills you can cultivate in life. It's about protecting the calm within yourself, no matter the chaos around you. In a world filled with distractions, challenges, and unexpected events, maintaining a sense of tranquility is essential not only for your mental well-being, but also for your ability to make clear, rational decisions. The Stoics believed that inner peace is something that comes from within. It isn't something that can be given to you by external sources, nor can it be taken away unless you allow it. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, often wrote about this in his personal reflections. He emphasized that our minds should remain undisturbed by external events. What is inner peace? Inner peace is not about living in a perfect environment free of stress or difficulties. It's about finding calmness and stability within yourself, no matter the situation. Think of your inner peace as a fortress, a sanctuary that you must actively protect. It's the space where you can retreat, reflect, and remain grounded even when everything else around you seems to be falling apart. It is crucial to remember that inner peace does not mean indifference. You're not turning a blind eye to the challenges or issues in your life, but you are choosing not to let those challenges disturb your emotional balance. The more you nurture this state of calm, the stronger your capacity to deal with life's inevitable difficulties. To effectively guard your inner peace, you must also set boundaries. Not everyone or everything deserves your time, energy, or emotional investment. There are people, situations, and habits that can drain you and disrupt your inner tranquility. The Stoics believed in practicing wisdom when it comes to choosing your company and your commitments. Sometimes, saying no is the most powerful way to protect your peace. It's also important to limit the influence of negative media, toxic relationships, or unnecessary stressors. Pay attention to how certain activities or interactions make you feel. If they leave you feeling anxious or drained, it may be time to reassess their place in your life. Protecting your peace isn't about shutting out the world. It's about being discerning and mindful of where you invest your energy. Guarding your inner peace is a lifelong practice. It requires self-awareness, discipline, and a commitment to remain centered in the face of life's ups and downs. The Stoics knew that true strength lies not in controlling external events, but in mastering your response to them. By guarding your inner peace, you become unshakable. You remain grounded, no matter what life throws your way, and this is where your true power resides. Remember, no one can disturb your peace unless you give them permission to do so. Choose to protect it, always. Rule 6. Be ruthless with time. Time is the most precious resource we possess, yet it's often the one we squander the most. Unlike money, possessions, or even physical energy, time is finite and irreplaceable. Once a second, a minute, or an hour passes, it's gone forever. This is why being ruthless with time is essential to living a meaningful, productive life. The Stoics, especially Seneca, emphasized this lesson frequently, reminding us that most people are careless about how they spend their time, and as a result, they waste the most valuable thing they have. Seneca famously said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Think about this for a moment. Most of us don't lack time. Rather, we misuse it. We let distractions, procrastination, and mindless activities steal away hours, days, even years of our lives. We give our time to things that don't matter, often without even realizing it. And yet, we constantly tell ourselves we don't have enough time for the things we say are important. Our passions, our goals, the relationships we want to build. To be ruthless with your time means to take full ownership of it. It's about recognizing that every minute is a choice, and if you're not deliberate with how you spend your time, it will slip through your fingers, leaving you with regret. This doesn't mean you need to be working or productive every moment of the day, but it does mean you should be intentional about where your time goes. Are you spending it in alignment with your values, your goals, and your purpose? Or are you letting others dictate how you use your time? The Stoics believed in focusing on what's essential and cutting out the trivial. Being ruthless with your time is about prioritizing what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius, key Stoic figure, said, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This isn't a morbid reflection. It's a reminder to use time wisely because we don't know how much of it we have left. The more we reflect on the limited nature of time, the more we realize how important it is to use it purposefully. In practical terms, being ruthless with time means saying no to distractions and time-wasting activities. This might involve cutting down on social media, limiting entertainment that doesn't enrich your life, or avoiding conversations that don't add value. It also means setting boundaries with people who demand more of your time than you can give. Protecting your time is an act of self-respect. It's also about developing habits that maximize your productivity. Set clear goals and work toward them each day. Break your big tasks into smaller, manageable pieces and tackle them consistently. The Stoics believed in taking deliberate action every day toward becoming the best version of yourself. And this requires a disciplined approach to how you spend your time. Lastly, being ruthless with your time means embracing the present moment. Too often, we're either dwelling on the past or worrying about the future, and we lose sight of what's happening right now. The Stoics taught that the only time we truly have is the present. Marcus Aurelius said, "Confine yourself to the present." This means fully engaging in whatever you're doing at the moment, whether that's working on a project, spending time with loved ones, or simply enjoying a quiet moment of reflection. Rule 7. Accept your mortality. The Stoic philosophy teaches us to confront one of the most profound and difficult truths of existence. We are mortal, and our time here is limited. Accepting your mortality means coming to terms with the fact that life is finite, but this acceptance is not about dwelling in fear or sadness. Instead, it is about recognizing death as a natural part of life, using it as a guide to live with intention, urgency, and purpose. This is a key lesson in Stoicism, understanding that the awareness of death should fuel our desire to live fully and virtuously. The Stoics referred to this concept as memento mori, which translates to remember that you will die. Far from being morbid, this phrase served as a reminder to not waste time on trivial matters or endless distractions. When you accept your mortality, it shifts your perspective. Suddenly, the petty concerns and anxieties of daily life seem insignificant. You begin to see the value in every moment, in every relationship, and in every decision you make. It helps you focus on the present and realize that we cannot afford to procrastinate. We often delay our dreams, believing that we have time to change careers, to heal a relationship, to express our love, or to finally take action toward our goals. But the truth is, time is not promised. Life is fragile, and the acceptance of our mortality brings clarity and urgency to how we live each day. There's also a freedom that comes from accepting mortality. We are no longer afraid of the inevitable, and therefore, fear no longer controls us. Instead of being paralyzed by the fear of death, we are empowered by the knowledge that it is a natural part of the human experience. This frees us from the fear of failure, rejection, or embarrassment. After all, if death is certain, what do we truly have to lose by taking risks, speaking our truth, or pursuing our passions? Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, advised that we should not fear death, but rather fear not living fully before death arrives. He said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." To the Stoics, accepting mortality wasn't about resigning oneself to fate, but about living more vibrantly, more courageously, and more intentionally. When we come to terms with our mortality, we also become more compassionate. We realize that everyone we encounter is subject to the same fate. This awareness fosters empathy, patience, and understanding in our interactions with others. It encourages us to forgive more easily, to love more deeply, and to let go of grudges and unnecessary conflicts. Incorporating this principle into daily life doesn't mean you constantly think about death, but rather that you use this awareness to remind yourself of life's impermanence. It can be as simple as reflecting on how you want to spend your time, whether you're using it wisely, and whether your actions align with your values. It can prompt you to express gratitude more often, knowing that life is fleeting. It can help you focus on legacy, not in terms of material wealth, but in the impact you leave behind through your actions and character. Accepting your mortality is a practice of aligning with the reality of life's impermanence. It's about understanding that the time we have is precious, and that this realization should inspire us to live with purpose, courage, and virtue. Instead of fearing death, we should fear wasting the life that we have. Rule 8. Seek wisdom over wealth. When it comes to Stoic philosophy, one of its most timeless lessons is that wisdom, not wealth, is the ultimate form of success. In a world where the pursuit of material wealth often takes center stage, the Stoics remind us that true fulfillment and strength come not from the accumulation of possessions, but from the cultivation of wisdom. Stoicism teaches us to focus on developing our character, understanding ourselves and the world, and learning to live virtuously, values that surpass any financial gain. Wealth is fleeting. It can be lost as quickly as it is gained, and it's something largely outside of our control. The Stoics believe that wealth is indifferent. It's neither good nor bad in itself. What truly matters is how we relate to it. While money can provide comfort, it's not a guarantee of happiness or peace of mind. You can have all the riches in the world and still be deeply unhappy or unfulfilled. On the other hand, a person who has developed wisdom is equipped with a mindset that allows them to handle adversity, maintain inner peace, and live in alignment with their values, regardless of their financial status. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history as a Roman emperor, often reflected on the triviality of wealth. Despite his immense power and resources, he emphasized the importance of wisdom and virtue over material possessions. Moreover, the pursuit of wealth often distracts us from the more meaningful aspects of life. When we're fixated on accumulating material possessions, we can easily lose sight of our personal growth, relationships, and the pursuit of knowledge. We might sacrifice time with loved ones or overlook opportunities for self-reflection, all in the name of wealth. Stoicism urges us to focus on what truly endures: wisdom, character, and virtue. These are the traits that define our legacy, far more than how much money we've amassed. Wisdom is not just knowledge, though. It's the application of knowledge in a meaningful way. It's about understanding the world, recognizing the impermanence of life, and knowing how to act in accordance with nature and reason. Wisdom helps us navigate challenges with clarity and resilience, something wealth alone cannot provide. In the face of adversity, a wise person can maintain their composure and make sound decisions, whereas someone who depends solely on material wealth may crumble when external circumstances change. Additionally, wisdom teaches us how to manage wealth responsibly if we do acquire it. Rather than letting money control us, Wisdom allows us to use it as a tool without becoming attached to it. Seneca, one of the wealthiest Stoics, lived by this principle. Though he had great financial success, he consistently advocated for moderation and detachment from wealth. His writings often emphasized that wealth should serve a purpose, but it should never be the goal in itself. In seeking wisdom over wealth, we prioritize a life that is rich in meaning, understanding, and personal fulfillment. Wisdom empowers us to live with purpose, handle challenges with grace, and maintain inner peace despite the external fluctuations of life. Wealth may come and go, but wisdom is something that, once cultivated, remains with us for a lifetime. The Stoic path encourages us to strive for a well-lived life rather than a life defined by material success. In doing so, we align ourselves with the things that truly matter: wisdom, virtue, and personal growth, and find a deeper, more lasting form of happiness. So instead of chasing wealth, chase wisdom. It is the only currency that will never devalue and the only asset that will serve you in every situation. Rule 9. Lead by example. Leading by example is one of the most powerful principles in Stoicism and a core value of any strong, virtuous individual. It's easy to talk about what should be done, to give advice, or to instruct others on the right path. But true leadership is demonstrated through actions, not just words. In Stoicism, the emphasis is on living according to the values and principles you believe in, showing others through your behavior what it means to live with integrity, discipline, and wisdom. Talk is cheap. Anyone can claim to be disciplined, strong, or courageous, but the Stoics believed that virtues are only real when they are put into practice. Epictetus famously said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." This means that instead of telling people how they should act, show them how by living in a way that reflects your values. If you want others to be disciplined, practice discipline in your own life. If you want others to be just, be the embodiment of justice in every decision you make. Words can inspire, but actions can transform. By leading through example, you demonstrate consistency and reliability. You become someone others can look to as a model of how to navigate life's challenges. The way you conduct yourself in moments of adversity, stress, or success speaks volumes about who you are, and it often has a deeper impact than any lecture or advice you could give. People are far more likely to follow someone who practices what they preach. Integrity is the cornerstone of leading by example. In Stoicism, this means aligning your actions with your values, no matter how difficult or inconvenient it may be. Integrity means being the same person in private as you are in public, not compromising your values for short-term gains or approval. When others see that you live with integrity, it builds trust and respect. They know that you stand for something real and that you will not waver in the face of pressure or temptation. Leadership that stems from integrity is enduring because it's built on authenticity. When you embody the principles you talk about, you don't need to convince people to follow you. They'll naturally be drawn to you because they see you as someone who lives with conviction, someone who leads by example. One of the most important aspects of leading by example is consistency, especially in the small, everyday actions. It's not just about making grand gestures or rising to the occasion when a big challenge presents itself. It's about the way you handle the small, mundane moments of life. How do you treat people when no one is watching? How do you respond when faced with minor frustrations? Do you maintain your discipline, or do you let yourself slide when things seem less important? In Stoicism, every action matters, because it's the accumulation of small actions that define who you are. Leading by example means paying attention to how you conduct yourself in every moment, not just when it's convenient or when you're being observed. This kind of consistency is difficult, but it's essential for true Stoic leadership. When you lead by example, your influence goes beyond immediate results. Your behavior creates a ripple effect that impacts everyone around you. Others will see how you respond to difficulties with calm, how you remain disciplined in the face of temptation, how you practice kindness even when it's not easy. This creates a standard for others to follow, and it often inspires them to elevate their own behavior. In families, communities, and organizations, those who lead by example often have the most enduring impact. People remember how you made them feel, how you treated them, and how you conducted yourself in times of challenge. By leading through example, you inspire others to strive for their own best selves, to take responsibility for their actions, and to live with the same integrity and discipline you display. Leading by example is the essence of Stoic leadership. It's about embodying the values you hold dear, living with integrity, and demonstrating through your actions what it means to live a virtuous life. Your behavior becomes the standard that others look to, and by leading this way, you inspire real change, not through words, but through action. True leadership isn't about commanding others, it's about showing them the path by walking it yourself. In Stoicism, leading by example is not just a philosophy, it's a way of life. Rule 10. Practice gratitude. Daily gratitude is one of the most transformative practices in Stoicism, and it holds the key to a deeper sense of fulfillment and inner peace. When you practice gratitude daily, you shift your mindset from one of lack to one of abundance, from focusing on what you don't have to recognizing and appreciating what you do. This practice is not about passive acceptance, but about actively embracing the present moment, with all its imperfections, and finding value in it. In Stoicism, Marcus Aurelius frequently reflects on the importance of gratitude in his personal writings. Despite being the most powerful man in the world as a Roman emperor, he regularly reminded himself to be thankful for the smallest things: his breath, the people around him, and the opportunity to act virtuously. Gratitude to him and other Stoics was more than a fleeting emotion. It was a disciplined practice to keep the mind focused on what truly matters. Practicing gratitude daily changes the way you see the world. When you make a conscious effort to recognize the things you are grateful for, your health, the food you eat, the shelter you have, you begin to see life's richness, even in the midst of difficulties. It's easy to focus on the negative, especially when life is challenging, but Stoicism teaches that there's always something to be grateful for, no matter the circumstances. By starting each day with gratitude, you set the tone for how you'll approach the rest of it. It's not about being naive or ignoring life's problems. Rather, it's about acknowledging that, while hardships exist, there are still things worthy of appreciation. This mindset strengthens your resilience. When challenges come, you're better prepared because you've already anchored yourself in a sense of appreciation. Gratitude is a powerful tool for shifting perspective. Instead of fixating on what you lack or what went wrong, gratitude reminds you of the bigger picture. It keeps you grounded and prevents you from being overwhelmed by negative emotions. When you practice gratitude daily, you train your mind to see opportunities for growth and learning, even in adversity. The Stoics believed that every challenge we face is an opportunity for practicing virtue. Gratitude for those challenges strengthens our character, helping us stay calm and composed in the face of obstacles. Seneca once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Gratitude counteracts this craving for more by making us aware of the abundance we already have. Whether it's our relationships, the simple joys in life, or even the lessons learned through hardships, gratitude shifts us from wanting more to appreciating the present. Incorporating gratitude into your daily life can be simple. Start by setting aside a few moments each morning or evening to reflect on what you're grateful for. It could be as small as appreciating a warm cup of coffee, or as significant as being thankful for your family's health. Writing these reflections down in a journal can deepen the practice, helping you solidify your mindset over time. Throughout the day, you can also pause and remind yourself to be grateful in real-time moments. When you're faced with frustration or disappointment, take a step back and ask, what can I be grateful for in this situation? It might be the lesson it's teaching you, or it could be something unrelated, like the support of a friend or the strength you've shown by handling it. The daily practice of gratitude becomes a shield against dissatisfaction and negativity. It creates a mental habit that rewires your thinking, making you more content, peaceful, and present. Over time, you'll find that life feels richer and more meaningful, not because your circumstances have drastically changed, but because your perspective has. Practicing gratitude daily is not just a Stoic rule, but a path to deeper fulfillment. It elevates your awareness of life's blessings, shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present, and strengthens your ability to face challenges with grace and resilience. It's a simple but profound practice that can transform how you experience life. Rule 11. Master your emotions. Mastering your emotions is at the very heart of Stoic philosophy. It's not about suppressing how you feel, but about developing the ability to navigate your emotions with calm and rationality. Emotions are natural, but when they go unchecked, they can become disruptive forces that cloud judgment and lead to poor decisions. In Stoicism, mastering emotions means using reason and self-awareness to ensure that emotions serve you rather than control you. This isn't an easy process, but it's one of the most powerful tools you can have in life. When you master your emotions, you reclaim control over how you react to the world around you. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, emphasized the importance of focusing on what's within your power. You can't control other people, external events, or the forces of nature, but you can always control how you respond. This is where emotional mastery becomes crucial. Your ability to remain calm in the face of adversity, composed when dealing with conflict, or steady when experiencing anger or frustration is a reflection of your internal strength. Without mastering your emotions, you can become a slave to impulses and reactions. Imagine a situation where you let anger dictate your response. Perhaps you lash out at someone in a moment of rage, only to regret it later. This momentary loss of control can damage relationships, hinder professional opportunities, or create unnecessary conflict. Emotional reactions like anger, fear, or even overexcitement can distort reality, making small problems seem larger than they are. Stoicism teaches that emotional discipline allows you to see clearly, act wisely, and avoid being pulled into the turbulence of unnecessary drama. Mastering your emotions also gives you power over how you experience life. Many people go through life reacting to situations without thinking, being thrown around by their emotions as if they are passengers in their own lives. But when you take responsibility for your emotional state, you shift from being reactive to proactive. You're no longer at the mercy of your environment. Instead, you choose how to engage with the world. You build a mental fortress that can withstand criticism, setbacks, or disappointment, because you've cultivated an inner resilience that isn't swayed by external circumstances. The process of mastering your emotions begins with awareness. You must first recognize what you're feeling in any given moment without judgment. For example, when you feel angry, don't immediately act on that anger. Instead, step back and observe it. Ask yourself why you're feeling this way, what triggered it, and whether reacting with anger will help the situation or make it worse. By introducing this space between the emotion and your reaction, you're already taking the first step in mastering it. Another key aspect is developing emotional intelligence, which is the ability to understand and manage not only your own emotions, but also the emotions of others. This means being aware of how your words and actions affect those around you, and learning to respond in a way that is constructive rather than reactive. The more you understand your own emotional patterns, the better you can regulate them. Stoicism encourages the practice of temperance, which is the ability to moderate your desires and emotions. This doesn't mean you shouldn't feel joy or excitement, but rather that you should approach all emotions with balance. Too much of any emotion, even happiness, can lead to extremes that throw off your ability to think clearly and make wise choices. A Stoic strives for tranquility, a state where emotions are present but managed with reason and calmness. By mastering your emotions, you unlock a greater sense of freedom. You no longer have to fear being overwhelmed by anger, sadness, or stress, because you've developed the tools to manage them. This leads to better relationships, more thoughtful decision-making, and a deeper sense of inner peace. When emotions are no longer ruling your life, you create space for clarity, purpose, and wisdom. Ultimately, emotional mastery is not about being unfeeling. It's about achieving a higher level of emotional intelligence and control. When you can channel your emotions in productive ways and remain steady in difficult times, you align yourself with one of the core principles of Stoicism: the ability to live in harmony with yourself and the world around you. Rule 12. Keep your ego in check. Ego is one of the most destructive forces that can subtly take hold of your life. It blinds you to reality, clouds your judgment, and distances you from your true potential. Stoicism teaches that keeping your ego in check is essential if you want to grow, learn, and maintain clarity in your actions. It's easy to get caught up in your own sense of importance, especially in moments of success or when you're praised by others. But it's in these moments that you need to be most vigilant. The Stoics believed that the ego is the greatest enemy of wisdom. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself to resist the lure of arrogance. He said, "Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason, which today arm you against the present." In this quote, he emphasizes that no matter how much power or influence you have, it's vital to stay grounded in reason and not get carried away by pride. Keeping your ego in check requires deep self-awareness. You have to recognize the moments when your ego is creeping in, when you feel overly entitled, when you believe you're better than others, or when you refuse to accept criticism. It's the voice that tells you that you deserve more than others, or that you should always come out on top. Ego distorts your perception of the world, making it harder to learn from mistakes, to grow, and to connect with others authentically. In Stoicism, one of the key practices is to embrace humility. Humility doesn't mean downplaying your strengths or achievements. It means recognizing that your worth is not defined by external measures like wealth, status, or success. You understand that you are a small part of a much larger whole. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, reminds us, it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. If you let your ego convince you that you know everything or that you are always right, you shut yourself off from the possibility of growth and wisdom. Another critical aspect of keeping your ego in check is understanding that life's successes and failures are temporary. Just as quickly as you rise, you can fall. Stoicism teaches you to remain even-keeled in both victory and defeat. Success can easily inflate your ego, but the Stoics advise you to remain humble, remembering that external validation is fleeting. Similarly, failure can bruise your ego, but if you stay grounded, you can learn from it without letting it shatter your sense of self-worth. By keeping your ego in check, you also cultivate better relationships with others. Ego tends to create separation. It makes you feel above others or make you treat them as less significant. But when you practice humility, you recognize that everyone is fighting their own battles. Everyone is flawed, and everyone has value. This allows you to build stronger, more compassionate connections. Finally, Keeping your ego in check is a practice of detachment. You detach from the need for constant approval or validation. You find strength not in how others see you, but in your inner sense of integrity and character. When you are no longer a slave to your ego, you are free to act according to your values and purpose, not in pursuit of recognition or praise. In summary, keeping your ego in check is a daily practice of humility, self-awareness, and groundedness. It requires you to resist the pull of pride and entitlement, to remain open to learning, and to detach from the external accolades that can feed your ego. Only by doing so can you truly grow, maintain clarity in your actions, and stay connected to what matters most, your character and your purpose. Rule 13. Practice negative visualization. Negative visualization, also known as premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, is a central Stoic practice that invites us to reflect on the worst-case scenarios of life, not to dwell in negativity, but to strengthen our resilience and appreciate what we have. It's an active mental exercise that involves imagining the loss or failure of the things you value most, your loved ones, your health, your possessions, or even your own life. At first glance, it may seem counterintuitive or even morbid, but the wisdom behind this practice is profound. Why would you willingly think about something going wrong? Because it trains your mind to face adversity with composure. In Stoicism, the idea is not to avoid hardship or pretend life will always be perfect. Quite the opposite. Stoics believe that suffering and loss are inevitable, and that it is our perception and reaction to these events that determine how well we live. By imagining these difficulties in advance, you're mentally preparing yourself to handle them with strength and grace, rather than being blindsided by shock or despair when they actually happen. Imagine for a moment. You're reflecting on your closest relationships, imagining what life would be like without them. This practice can feel emotionally challenging, but it's meant to heighten your awareness of the present. When you allow yourself to consider how fragile life truly is, how easily things can change, the small annoyances and grievances that might bother you begin to fade into the background. What's left is gratitude. Gratitude for the time you have, for the people you care about, for the ability to live and breathe another day. This awareness helps you live more fully, more mindfully, and with greater appreciation for what is here and now. But negative visualization does more than just enhance gratitude. It acts as an emotional shield. When you've already mentally prepared for something to go wrong, its impact lessens when or if it actually does. You are not left defenseless in the face of adversity, because you have already thought through the worst and have made peace with it. This is not about becoming emotionally detached, but about developing an inner strength to endure life's inevitable hardships without being overwhelmed by them. Take, for example, the potential loss of wealth. A Stoic might periodically visualize what life would be like if they lost all their material possessions. How would they cope? Could they find happiness and meaning without those comforts? This kind of reflection helps shift your focus from what you have to who you are. It allows you to center your worth and contentment on your character, not your external circumstances. If such a loss were to occur, you'd have already trained your mind to remain unshaken by it, understanding that material wealth was never a true measure of your success or happiness to begin with. Premeditatio malorum also fosters a sense of control over your mind and emotions. In life, we cannot control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond to it. By practicing negative visualization, you take control of your reactions before the event occurs. You rehearse calmness, acceptance, and wisdom in advance. This practice is empowering because it places the responsibility of your emotional well-being in your own hands. You no longer have to fear the unknown future because you've prepared yourself for it. In essence, negative visualization teaches that suffering is a part of life, but it need not dominate us. By embracing the possibility of loss or hardship, we not only strengthen our resilience, but also elevate our appreciation for the good things in life. This Stoic exercise invites us to live with both eyes wide open, to recognize that every good thing in life is temporary, and that this understanding brings a sense of urgency to live fully, gratefully, and with purpose. Rule 14. Live in accordance with nature. It encourages us to align ourselves with the natural order of the world, not just in the environmental or biological sense, but also in how we understand our place in the universe, our relationships with others, and our own human nature. Living in accordance with nature is about recognizing the inherent laws of life, accepting the cycles of change, and learning to flow with them rather than resist them. At its core, this Stoic principle teaches that the universe is a rational, ordered system. Everything in existence follows a natural course, and to live well is to live in harmony with that order. This doesn't mean a passive acceptance of fate, but rather an active alignment with the world as it is, instead of how we might wish it to be. The Stoics believed that much of human suffering stems from the tension between our desires and reality. When we desire things to be different from their natural course, we set ourselves up for disappointment and frustration. To live in accordance with nature, as the Stoics saw it, involves three key aspects: understanding the world's nature, understanding human nature, and understanding your personal nature. The Stoics believed that the world operates on natural laws, and everything that happens is a part of the grand design of the cosmos. They accepted that life is filled with changes. Birth, growth, decay, and death are inevitable. This recognition doesn't lead to resignation, but empowers you to work with the flow of life rather than against it. When you live in harmony with nature, you stop resisting what is beyond your control. You learn to accept that challenges, losses, and setbacks are as much a part of life as joy and success. Instead of asking, "Why me?" the Stoic approach would ask, "How can I respond virtuously to this?" The Stoics believed that we are all social beings, interconnected by our shared humanity. Living according to human nature means recognizing that we are made to live in communities, to help one another, and to practice virtues like kindness, fairness, and justice. Marcus Aurelius emphasized that we are born for cooperation, and that living selfishly or in isolation goes against our nature. In a world driven by competition and individualism, this Stoic idea is a reminder that fulfillment comes not from standing above others, but from standing with them. Each individual has their own unique nature, their strengths, talents, and limitations. Living in accordance with your personal nature means understanding yourself deeply and acting in a way that aligns with who you are at your core. It's about acknowledging your potential, but also recognizing where you need to grow. It's the path of self-awareness and self-acceptance, of knowing when to push yourself and when to step back. The Stoics would argue that when you live authentically and in alignment with your true nature, you will find peace and purpose. Living in accordance with nature also implies a certain resilience. The Stoics were firm believers in the idea that nature gives us everything we need to endure challenges. Our minds are equipped with the capacity for reason, and with reason comes the ability to make sound decisions, even in the face of adversity. When life throws hardships your way, this principle reminds you that you have the inner resources to handle it. Nature has designed you to be adaptable and strong, and by living according to nature, you can find strength in yourself to face whatever comes. In practical terms, living in accordance with nature is a mindset shift. It means accepting things as they are, people, events, circumstances, without becoming overly attached to your desired outcomes. You learn to embrace the process of life, knowing that everything unfolds as it should, even if it doesn't always align with your immediate preferences. This acceptance leads to greater peace, as you are no longer in constant conflict with the reality of the world around you. Living in accordance with nature is about recognizing the natural laws of the universe, the social nature of humanity, and your own individual nature. It's about working with life's flow, not against it, and finding harmony in both the external world and your internal world. When you live in accordance with nature, you develop resilience, clarity, and a deeper sense of peace, knowing that you are part of something larger and that everything in life has its place in the grand design. Rule 15. Be present in every moment. The idea of being fully present, mindful, engaged, and aware in each moment holds profound significance. It is not merely about existing in the present, but about consciously immersing yourself in the here and now with intention and focus. Let me delve deeper into why this practice is so powerful and how it can transform your life. In our fast-paced, distraction-filled world, being truly present is becoming increasingly rare. Our minds are often occupied with regrets of the past or anxieties about the future. We are scrolling through social media, consumed by worries, or stuck in the endless stream of tasks and to-dos. This mental chaos disconnects us from the present moment, and in doing so, it prevents us from living fully. Stoicism teaches us that the present moment is the only reality we have. The past is gone, the future is uncertain, and all we possess is the here and now. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, repeatedly reminded himself to stay grounded in the present. He urged himself to act as if each day could be his last, not in a fearful way, but to live fully and intentionally. Confine yourself to the present, he said. This is not a call to ignore planning or to be reckless, but rather an invitation to be aware and engaged with what is happening now. By focusing on the present, we release ourselves from the burden of what we cannot change, the past, and what we cannot control, the future. Being present sharpens your ability to respond to life's challenges. When you are fully aware of what is happening right in front of you, you make better decisions. Stoicism encourages us to act with reason, clarity, and virtue. And this can only be done when we are mentally present. If your mind is constantly drifting to things outside of your immediate reality, you will struggle to make clear, rational choices. Whether it's a difficult conversation, an opportunity at work, or a personal challenge, being present enables you to approach situations with composure and effectiveness. Moreover, being present in every moment fosters deeper connections with others. How often have you been in a conversation where you weren't truly listening? How often have you been distracted when spending time with loved ones? When you are present, you are able to listen with intention, to empathize more fully, and to engage in meaningful ways. This attentiveness strengthens relationships and enhances the quality of your interactions. People sense when you are genuinely present with them, and it creates a powerful connection built on mutual respect and understanding. Practicing presence also cultivates gratitude. When you're fully aware of the moment, you begin to notice the small joys of life, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the sound of laughter, the taste of your favorite food. Life is made up of these moments, and if you're not present, they will pass you by unnoticed. The Stoics remind us to appreciate what we have now, because nothing is guaranteed. By being fully engaged in the present, you develop a deeper sense of appreciation for life's fleeting beauty. So how do you start living more fully in the present moment? It begins with mindfulness and self-discipline. Take a few moments throughout the day to pause and check in with yourself. Are you truly paying attention to what's happening, or is your mind elsewhere? When you feel yourself drifting, gently bring your focus back to the present. This practice of mindfulness helps you build the muscle of presence over time. Finally, remember that the present moment is where your power lies. You cannot change the past and you cannot predict the future, but you can take action right now. The Stoics believed that we have control only over our thoughts and actions in the present. By embracing this truth, you free yourself from the unnecessary stress of trying to control things beyond your reach. This is not only liberating, but also empowering. You are in control of this moment, and how you respond to it defines your life. In conclusion, being present in every moment is not just a philosophical concept, it's a way of life that brings clarity, peace, and purpose. It grounds you in reality, strengthens your relationships, and allows you to act with intention and wisdom. If you can master the art of being fully present, you will unlock a profound sense of control and fulfillment that enriches every aspect of your life. Rule 16. Find strength in adversity. Adversity, though uncomfortable and often unwelcome, is one of life's greatest teachers. In Stoicism, hardship is not seen as something to merely endure, but as an opportunity for growth, a path to inner strength. The Stoics believed that adversity reveals who you are, strips away the superficial, and forces you to confront your true character. It's in these difficult moments that your resilience, courage, and determination are forged. As Seneca once said, difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Think of adversity as the fire that tempers the steel of your character. It's only when you face the storms of life, whether they come in the form of loss, failure, or hardship, that you can understand your own strength. Without challenges, we remain in our comfort zones, and growth is stagnant. But when we encounter obstacles, we're given the chance to push beyond our limits, to rise above fear, and to develop the qualities that make us stronger. The Stoic principle behind finding strength in adversity is rooted in the idea of perception. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, emphasized the power of perspective. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This quote embodies the Stoic mindset. When something blocks your path, it's not a reason to stop, but a signal to adapt and grow. Adversity, rather than being seen as a wall, becomes a stepping stone to something greater. Stoicism teaches us to accept adversity with a mindset of growth. It is not about denying the pain or hardship, but embracing it with the understanding that it will pass and that you will be better for having faced it. In many ways, hardship is a mirror that reflects back to you the areas where you need to improve. Whether it's developing patience, self-discipline, or emotional resilience, every challenge is a chance to refine who you are. Adversity becomes a test of your inner virtues, your ability to remain calm, composed, and clear-headed despite the chaos around you. Another key aspect of this Stoic rule is responsibility. When adversity strikes, it's easy to fall into the trap of victimhood, blaming external factors for your struggles. But Stoicism emphasizes personal responsibility and agency, regardless of what happens. You may not control the circumstances, but you always control how you respond. This perspective transforms adversity into a source of empowerment. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" the Stoic asks, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in mindset allows you to take ownership of the situation and use it as fuel for growth. When you internalize this rule, finding strength in adversity, it fundamentally changes how you approach life. No longer do you fear challenges or avoid discomfort. Instead, you welcome them as necessary parts of the journey. This doesn't mean you seek out hardship, but when it inevitably comes, you face it with confidence, knowing that you are capable of rising above it. Over time, this Stoic practice builds a sense of inner peace and unshakable strength. You realize that adversity, no matter how difficult, is temporary, but the growth you gain from it is lasting. In the end, the strength you find in adversity is the foundation for resilience. It's the wisdom that says, "I've been through challenges before, and I will make it through this one too." This mindset, taught by the Stoics, is the key to living a life where hardship no longer defeats you, but instead refines you. Adversity becomes not a burden, but an opportunity to become your best, most resilient self. Rule 17. Serve a purpose greater than yourself. At the heart of Stoic philosophy lies a simple yet profound truth. Life is not just about personal success, wealth, or status. It's about serving something greater than yourself. This idea, deeply embedded in Stoicism, challenges us to transcend the limitations of our individual desires and ambitions, and instead align our lives with a purpose that benefits the collective good. When you focus solely on yourself, life can feel shallow and unfulfilling. Achieving personal goals, wealth, fame, comfort might bring temporary satisfaction, but it often leaves a deeper sense of emptiness. The Stoics believed that true fulfillment comes from contributing to the well-being of others and the world around you. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "What is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bees." In other words, if your actions don't benefit the whole, they won't truly benefit you either. Serving a purpose greater than yourself means recognizing that you are part of a larger community, and that your actions should aim to improve the lives of others, not just your own. It's about finding ways to contribute to society, whether through kindness, leadership, creativity, or service, and understanding that real power and fulfillment come from giving back. When you dedicate yourself to something bigger, you move beyond the ego, beyond personal gain, and connect with a higher sense of meaning. Stoicism teaches us that this greater purpose could take many forms. It could be about serving your family, leading with integrity in your career, or contributing to a cause that uplifts others. The key is to shift your focus outward and ask yourself, what impact am I making? How are my actions benefiting the world around me? This question drives you to live with a sense of responsibility and commitment to something beyond your personal desires. One of the remarkable things about serving a greater purpose is that it also strengthens your resilience. When you align yourself with a mission that transcends personal gain, setbacks, and challenges don't shake you as much. Why? Because your sense of fulfillment isn't tied to momentary success or failure. It's rooted in the steady pursuit of something more meaningful. This shift in perspective gives you the strength to endure adversity, knowing that your efforts serve a higher cause, not just your own ego. Moreover, when you serve a purpose greater than yourself, you cultivate virtues like humility, compassion, and wisdom. You stop seeing others as competitors or obstacles and start recognizing their inherent value. Your interactions become more genuine, and your relationships grow deeper, because they're built on a foundation of shared purpose rather than personal gain. Serving a higher purpose also brings a sense of freedom. When you let go of the constant pursuit of individual success and instead focus on what you can give, you release yourself from the burdens of comparison, envy, and selfish ambition. You begin to experience life in a way that's fuller, richer, and more connected to the people around you. In this, the Stoics believed, lies true happiness and peace. In today's world, where individualism is often prioritized over collective well-being, the Stoic call to serve a greater purpose is more relevant than ever. It's a reminder that life is not just about what we can achieve for ourselves, but about how we can make the world a better place for those around us. And in doing so, we find a deeper sense of meaning and fulfillment than personal success alone could ever provide. Ultimately, to serve a purpose greater than yourself is to live with intention and direction. It's to rise above the distractions of ego-driven pursuits and find fulfillment in the ways you can contribute to something lasting, something meaningful. It's to recognize that your life is not just about you. It's about how you can make a difference in the world. And in that pursuit, you unlock the true potential of your existence. Rule 18. Don't be swayed by praise or criticism. One of the core teachings of Stoicism is the understanding that external opinions, whether positive or negative, do not define your true value. To live a life of virtue and inner peace, you must learn not to be swayed by either praise or criticism. This rule emphasizes the importance of staying centered, grounded, and true to your principles, regardless of the opinions others may hold about you. Praise can be intoxicating. When people tell you how great you are, it's easy to allow their words to inflate your ego, making you feel superior or more important. But the danger of praise lies in its superficial nature. Compliments are often based on temporary accomplishments, fleeting successes, or external appearances. If you rely on them to feel validated, you become a slave to others' opinions. Your self-worth becomes tied to how others perceive you, and as a result, you begin to chase approval rather than focusing on your own growth and values. Stoicism teaches that true confidence comes from within, not from external validation. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This means that the path to wisdom and personal growth often requires disregarding what others think of you. The pursuit of excellence is an internal journey, and what matters most is your own judgment of your actions, whether they align with your values and virtues. On the flip side, criticism can be equally destabilizing. When people judge, mock, or criticize you, it's easy to feel hurt or defensive. But just as praise can be hollow, so too can criticism be shallow or unjust. Many people criticize out of jealousy, misunderstanding, or their own insecurities. If you allow their words to wound you, you're handing over control of your emotions and self-worth to others. The Stoics believed in emotional resilience. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself not to let others' judgments sway his sense of self by saying, "I cannot be hurt by any external thing. It is only what happens within me that can hurt me." This quote encapsulates the essence of Rule 18. What matters is not what people say or think about you, but how you choose to react to it. Criticism, like praise, is simply an opinion, and opinions are subjective and often biased. However, this rule does not mean you should ignore all feedback. The key distinction is that you should not let it control your emotions or self-perception. Constructive criticism can help you grow, but it must be received with discernment. Accept criticism only if it aligns with your own values and helps you improve. But never internalize it in a way that causes self-doubt or undermines your confidence. Living by this rule requires developing a strong sense of inner security. Your worth is determined by your actions, your character, and your adherence to virtue, not by others' perceptions of you. By practicing emotional independence, you free yourself from the emotional highs and lows of seeking approval or fearing disapproval. You become more resilient, focused on what truly matters, living a virtuous life based on wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. In summary, Rule 18 of Stoicism teaches you not to be swayed by praise or criticism. Both are external and often fleeting. Instead, focus on maintaining your own sense of self-worth, rooted in your principles and actions, not in how others perceive you. When you master this, you become more resilient, emotionally stable, and empowered to live a life true to your values. Rule 19. Focus on progress, not perfection. Perfection is a myth that often hinders rather than helps. In Stoic philosophy, one of the most powerful lessons is the importance of focusing on progress, rather than being consumed by an unattainable ideal of perfection. The Stoics understood that the pursuit of perfection can become a trap, one that leads to frustration, procrastination, and self-doubt. Instead, they emphasized the value of steady, deliberate progress as the true measure of growth. When we focus on perfection, we're setting ourselves up for disappointment because perfection is subjective and in many ways unreachable. Life is full of unpredictability and complexity, and the ideal of perfection doesn't account for that. What the Stoics teach us, and what Rule number 19 reminds us, is that striving for constant improvement, no matter how small, is the real goal. Every step you take, no matter how imperfect, brings you closer to a better version of yourself. Shifting your mindset from perfection to progress is liberating. It frees you from the anxiety of trying to meet unrealistic standards and allows you to focus on what really matters: taking action, learning from experience, and improving over time. Marcus Aurelius, in Meditations, often wrote about accepting the imperfections of both the world and ourselves. He didn't expect to be perfect, but he expected to be better each day. It's about consistently striving to grow and develop, knowing that every setback is an opportunity for growth. This focus on progress also helps cultivate patience. Perfection is often tied to instant results or outcomes. When we don't achieve immediate success, we tend to get discouraged. But by valuing progress, you start to see the long game. Small improvements build upon one another, and over time, they create profound change. The Stoics remind us that life is a marathon, not a sprint, and consistent effort is more valuable than brief moments of perfection. Stoicism also teaches us to embrace our imperfections and those of the world around us. This doesn't mean we should accept mediocrity, but rather that we should acknowledge our humanity. We are not flawless beings. We make mistakes, we fail, and we fall short. But each time we fall, we have the chance to learn and to rise again. As Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Mastery is not about being perfect. It's about being in control of your growth, acknowledging where you fall short, and taking responsibility for your own improvement. By focusing on progress, you allow yourself the space to experiment, to try new things, and to fail without being crushed by the weight of perfectionism. Failure becomes a stepping stone to success, not something to be avoided at all costs. Each mistake offers a lesson that, when embraced, helps you move forward. In practice, focusing on progress means setting realistic goals, breaking them down into smaller, achievable steps, and celebrating each win, no matter how small. It's about recognizing that each day presents an opportunity to be a little better than yesterday. Some days will feel like leaps forward, others like slow steps. But as long as you are moving, you are growing. As you approach life with this mindset, you'll start to notice a change. Stress will diminish because you're no longer holding yourself to impossible standards. Your confidence will grow because you'll see the cumulative effects of your efforts. And, importantly, you'll be more resilient in the face of challenges, knowing that perfection isn't required, just consistent progress. In conclusion, Rule number 19 teaches us that life is about progress, not perfection. By letting go of the need to be flawless and focusing on steady improvement, you'll find greater peace, productivity, and personal growth. Rule 20. Cultivate inner freedom. This is one of the most profound teachings in Stoicism, and it's central to living a life of strength, resilience, and peace. Inner freedom is the unshakable sense of self-mastery and autonomy that comes not from external circumstances, but from within. It's about liberating yourself from the chains of external validation, fear, and emotional turmoil, so that you can live according to your principles, no matter what life throws your way. Imagine a life where you're no longer ruled by the opinions of others, where the outcomes of events, whether good or bad, don't disturb your inner calm. This is what cultivating inner freedom means. It's not about isolation or detachment from the world. Rather, it's about engaging with life fully, yet not allowing it to dictate your peace of mind. Stoic philosophy emphasizes that while we cannot control external events, we have complete control over our thoughts, reactions, and interpretations of those events. The Stoics believe that true freedom comes when we stop seeking happiness or fulfillment from things outside our control, such as wealth, reputation, or even other people, and instead focus on what we can control: our mindset, virtues, and actions. This is where inner freedom becomes transformative. It's about letting go of the need to control what's beyond our power. It's about mastering your mind and emotions so that you aren't tossed around by the ups and downs of life. You might not control what happens around you, but you have full authority over how you respond. This shift in perspective is liberating. It frees you from being a victim of circumstance and turns you into a master of your own experience. Let's dive deeper into what this looks like in everyday life. When you cultivate inner freedom, you stop being reactive to the external world. A person insults you. Normally, this would stir anger, resentment, or hurt. But with inner freedom, you see that their insult holds no real power unless you let it. You remain calm, understanding that their words are a reflection of their own state of mind, not yours. You choose how to interpret the situation, and in doing so, you maintain your peace. Inner freedom also applies to how you handle success and failure. Society often conditions us to chase after success, to base our self-worth on achievements, accolades, or material wealth. But this makes you a slave to outcomes. When success arrives, you feel validated, but when failure strikes, it can devastate you. Cultivating inner freedom means detaching your sense of self from these external measures. Whether you succeed or fail, your core remains unshaken because your identity is built on your virtues, your character, and your actions, not on the transient results they produce. This doesn't mean you stop striving for success or that you become indifferent to outcomes. It means that your happiness and peace are no longer dependent on those outcomes. You strive for excellence because it aligns with your values and your principles, not because you need it to feel worthy. Another crucial aspect of inner freedom is freedom from fear, particularly the fear of loss or change. In life, everything is impermanent: relationships, possessions, health, and life itself. If we cling to these things and base our happiness on their permanence, we're setting ourselves up for inevitable suffering. Cultivating inner freedom means embracing the idea that change is constant and that loss is a natural part of life. Instead of fearing it, you accept it with grace, knowing that your peace comes from within, not from holding on to things that are ultimately beyond your control. Inner freedom is not something that happens overnight. It's a practice, a mindset that you must cultivate over time. It requires self-reflection, discipline, and a commitment to living in alignment with your values, no matter what challenges arise. The more you practice it, the more unshakable you become in the face of life's uncertainties. In summary, cultivating inner freedom is about reclaiming your power. It's about understanding that the real source of your strength and peace lies within you, not in the external world. It's about mastering your reactions, letting go of the need for external validation, and living according to your highest principles. When you cultivate inner freedom, you are no longer a prisoner to the world's unpredictability. You become the master of your own fate, unshaken by the tides of fortune. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom, and it is a path to true strength and serenity. Rule 21. Remember that life is short. Life is fleeting. This is an undeniable truth, yet one we often try to ignore or forget as we go about our daily lives. But the Stoics understood that the brevity of life is not something to fear. Instead, it should serve as a powerful reminder to live fully, with purpose, and without unnecessary delay. The Stoic philosopher Seneca famously wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." He knew that time, more than any material possession, is our most valuable resource, and it's one that we can never reclaim once it's gone. To live with the understanding that life is short is to live with urgency and intentionality. This mindset encourages us to stop postponing our lives, to cease the habit of saying, "I'll do it tomorrow," because none of us are guaranteed tomorrow. When we delay our dreams, our goals, or even simple acts of kindness, we gamble with time, assuming that there will always be more. But life's impermanence teaches us otherwise. When you internalize the brevity of life, it changes how you view your time. Every moment becomes precious. You become more deliberate in your choices, more selective about how you spend your days, and who you spend them with. Instead of letting distractions consume your energy, you start focusing on what truly matters, whether that's building meaningful relationships, pursuing a passion, or simply living in a way that aligns with your values. For the Stoics, the constant awareness of life's end was not morbid. It was liberating. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, often reminded himself of mortality by saying, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This practice, known as memento mori, was a tool for focusing the mind on the present, cutting away the trivialities and getting straight to what is important. When you realize that time is limited, the excuses fade and the procrastination dissolves. You no longer feel compelled to put off your dreams or to delay acting with courage or kindness. However, remembering that life is short does not mean living recklessly or in a state of panic. It means living purposefully. It means balancing urgency with mindfulness. You still approach life with patience and grace, but there's an underlying current of determination pushing you to make each day count. The Stoics would urge you to find the right balance, neither rushing through life nor drifting aimlessly. Instead, they encourage a focus on virtue, action, and presence in the here and now. Another key aspect of remembering that life is short is the impact it has on how we handle setbacks. When we recognize that time is precious, we become more resilient in the face of adversity. We understand that the time spent complaining, dwelling on failures, or holding grudges is wasted. Every moment consumed by negative emotions or unproductive habits is a moment lost forever. The Stoic approach is to confront challenges quickly, learn from them, and move forward, using the finite time we have to grow rather than stagnate. In short, to live with the awareness that life is short is to live with purpose, presence, and power. It's about understanding that your days are numbered and using that understanding to drive you toward meaningful action. Let this truth guide your decisions, help you prioritize what truly matters, and remind you to make the most of the time you have. As you move forward, ask yourself, if today were my last, would I be satisfied with how I'm spending it? Rule 22. Embrace simplicity. Embracing simplicity is at the core of Stoic philosophy, but in today's world where we're bombarded by complexity, materialism, and distraction, simplicity has become more challenging to maintain than ever before. Yet, it is in simplicity that we find clarity, peace, and purpose. When the Stoics speak of simplicity, they mean a life free from the excess that weighs us down, both physically and mentally. To embrace simplicity is to cut through the noise, discard what isn't necessary, and focus on what truly matters. It's about living a life aligned with virtue and values, not cluttered by superficial desires or needless concerns. Think about how often we are consumed by the pursuit of material goods, status, or the constant need to be busy. We collect things, ideas, even people, thinking they will add value to our lives. But these distractions can actually strip away our peace of mind. The Stoics remind us that true happiness and contentment don't come from more things, but from appreciating less. Epictetus wisely said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This means true richness comes from simplicity. Simplicity starts with our mindset. It's not just about minimalism in the physical sense, though decluttering our physical space often helps create mental clarity. But more importantly, it's about simplifying our internal world. This means being deliberate in our thoughts and actions and focusing on what is essential. Simplicity means finding joy in what we have, instead of constantly striving for more. It's about resisting the temptation to overcomplicate our lives with unnecessary stress, conflict, and desires. When you embrace simplicity, you free up mental and emotional space. You're no longer chasing after every fleeting desire or overwhelmed by the complexity of daily life. This creates a calm, centered mindset where you can better focus on what's truly important: your principles, your relationships, your well-being, and your purpose. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, lived this idea throughout his life. Despite being the emperor of Rome with unimaginable power and wealth at his disposal, he practiced simplicity. He consistently reminded himself to live according to nature, avoiding indulgence and maintaining humility. In his meditations, he wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." Simplicity for Marcus Aurelius was about focusing on virtue and not being distracted by the luxuries and excesses that his position offered. In our modern lives, embracing simplicity may mean saying no to unnecessary commitments, decluttering our spaces, or even just taking time to slow down and appreciate the present moment. It means prioritizing quality over quantity in everything, whether it's the things we own, the people we surround ourselves with, or how we spend our time. Embracing simplicity also strengthens our resilience. When we strip away the non-essential, we become less reliant on external comforts and more rooted in our inner strength. By reducing our attachment to material possessions and societal expectations, we become more adaptable in the face of adversity. When challenges arise, we're able to handle them with greater calm and focus because we've learned to let go of the excess that clouds our judgment. Simplicity gives us the freedom to be present, mindful, and intentional. It creates space for us to live in alignment with our values and cultivate a deeper sense of fulfillment. By practicing simplicity, we reduce the complexity that often leads to stress, anxiety, and dissatisfaction. In doing so, we enhance our ability to lead a more purposeful, meaningful life. The challenge is not just in recognizing the value of simplicity, but in applying it daily. It's about the small, consistent choices we make to value contentment over indulgence, to focus on what matters over what distracts. This Stoic rule, to embrace simplicity, is not about deprivation. It's about finding freedom and clarity through restraint. By doing so, we unlock a more balanced, peaceful, and purposeful existence. Simplicity is not a restriction, but an invitation to live a life focused on what is truly important. And in that focus, we find our greatest power. Rule 23. Face fear head-on. Fear is a natural emotion. It's instinctive and ingrained in us for survival. However, in modern life, fear often holds us back more than it protects us. It keeps us from taking the risks necessary for growth and prevents us from stepping into opportunities that could change our lives. The Stoics believed that confronting fear was not just important, but essential for living a life of virtue, courage, and wisdom. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most notable Stoic philosophers, advised that we should not be driven by fear, but instead by reason and purpose. He said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." Facing fear head-on means acknowledging it, understanding it, and taking action in spite of it. Most fears we face today are not life-threatening. They are mental constructs, exaggerated by our imagination. Whether it's fear of failure, fear of rejection, or fear of the unknown, the Stoic approach teaches us to strip these fears of their power by confronting them directly. Avoiding fear only magnifies it, allowing it to grow stronger in the shadows of our mind. When you confront fear, you expose it for what it truly is, an illusion that often fades once you take the first step. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Fear thrives in our minds, often inflating a situation to seem much worse than it is. When you face fear, you take away its ability to control you. The process of confronting fear begins with rational examination. Ask yourself, what is the worst possible outcome if I move forward despite this fear? Often, you'll find that the consequences are not as severe as your mind imagines. This shift in perspective allows you to reclaim power over your emotions. Another key Stoic concept is that fear of the future or the unknown is a waste of energy. The future is uncertain, and worrying about potential negative outcomes serves no practical purpose. Instead, Stoicism encourages you to focus on what is within your control, your actions in the present. You cannot predict or control the future, but you can control how you respond to the present moment. When fear arises, remind yourself that the present is all you truly have control over. Facing fear head-on also strengthens your resilience. Each time you confront fear and take action despite it, you grow mentally and emotionally stronger. Stoicism teaches that discomfort, adversity, and fear are the pathways to personal growth. Without confronting fear, you remain stagnant, held back by invisible chains. But when you challenge your fears, you expand your comfort zone, build courage, and unlock new possibilities. Over time, you will find that what once terrified you becomes manageable and eventually even trivial. Finally, the Stoics believe that fear should never dictate your actions. Your principles and values should guide your decisions, not fear. Courage in Stoicism is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act in line with virtue despite it. When you face fear head-on, you embody this Stoic principle of courage, which is one of the 4 core virtues in Stoicism, alongside wisdom, justice, and temperance. In practice, facing fear might mean taking a difficult step, whether it's speaking up when you feel silenced, pursuing a passion you've been putting off, or confronting someone about a personal conflict. Whatever the challenge, the Stoic approach urges you to act in alignment with your values, no matter how daunting the path may seem. The fear will be there, but it will no longer be your master. By facing fear head-on, you reclaim your power. You step out of the shadows of self-doubt and into the light of self-determination. Fear is no longer a barrier. It becomes a signal that you are on the path to growth. And that, my friend, is where true freedom lies. Rule 24. Practice silence and reflection. Silence is more than the absence of noise. It is a powerful tool for personal growth and self-mastery. In the hustle of modern life, we are constantly bombarded with information, opinions, and distractions. Rarely do we find the space to simply stop, reflect, and listen to our own thoughts. This is where the Stoic practice of silence comes in, a deliberate retreat from the noise of the world to find clarity, peace, and insight. The Stoics believed in the importance of internal stillness, of cultivating moments where you step back from the frenzy of life to reflect on your own actions and thoughts. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's greatest thinkers, emphasized this often in his meditations, where he spoke of retreating into the quiet of the mind. He said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." In these moments of silence, we can gain perspective on our lives, realign our actions with our values, and strengthen our inner resolve. Practicing silence isn't just about being physically quiet, it's about creating mental stillness. In that stillness, we can examine our thoughts without the constant influence of outside stimuli. Many of us react impulsively, responding to external events without fully understanding our own emotions or motivations. Silence gives us a pause, a moment to consider our response rather than reacting on autopilot. It encourages us to reflect on what is truly important, rather than getting swept up in the trivial distractions that so often consume us. Reflection is key here. When we practice silence, we create the space to reflect on our day, our actions, and our growth. What did I do well? Where did I falter? How can I improve tomorrow? These are questions that Stoics encourage us to ask ourselves daily. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, recommended a practice of daily reflection, where one reviews their actions, thoughts, and behaviors. He wrote, "The mind should be called to account every day." This isn't about self-criticism, but about self-awareness, an honest evaluation of who we are and how we're living. By setting aside time for reflection, you create the opportunity to learn from your mistakes, celebrate your progress, and chart a course forward. This is essential for personal growth. Without reflection, we risk repeating the same mistakes over and over, living unconsciously and failing to improve. Reflection paired with silence allows for deep, uninterrupted contemplation, a rarity in today's fast-paced world, but a practice that can lead to profound insight. In addition to internal benefits, silence also has external advantages. It strengthens our communication with others. We often feel the need to fill silences with words, but true power often lies in listening. By holding back from speaking, we can listen more deeply to those around us. We gain more understanding, and we respond with greater wisdom and thoughtfulness. As Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Practicing silence helps us develop patience and mindfulness in our interactions. Ultimately, practicing silence and reflection strengthens our ability to control our reactions and live in alignment with our principles. It gives us the mental clarity to stay centered in a chaotic world and to focus on what truly matters. In those quiet moments, we discover a well of inner strength, and in reflection, we find the guidance we need to improve and thrive. Silence, then, is not an absence, but a presence of mind, a presence of self-awareness, and a presence of wisdom that helps us become better each day. Rule 25. Cultivate patience and endurance. Patience and endurance are virtues that, when truly mastered, can transform the way you navigate through life. In the Stoic philosophy, these qualities are considered essential because they empower you to withstand adversity, embrace challenges, and maintain inner calm in the face of discomfort. Cultivating patience and endurance is not just about waiting, it's about how you wait and endure, the mindset you hold during difficult times. The Stoics understood that life is full of unpredictability and hardship. Whether it's external obstacles, personal challenges, or the inevitable difficulties of existence, patience and endurance are the tools that allow you to confront these struggles with strength and composure. Epictetus famously said, "No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen." This is a powerful reminder that everything worth achieving takes time, and rushing through the process only leads to frustration and disappointment. Patience isn't passive, it's an active state of mind that requires discipline and focus. It involves trusting the process, even when the results seem distant or unclear. Many people give up too soon, frustrated by slow progress or minor setbacks. But the Stoic approach urges us to embrace the journey and see every delay, every obstacle, as an opportunity to grow stronger. When you cultivate patience, you develop resilience. You train yourself to stay steady, to remain committed to your purpose, regardless of how long it takes or how difficult it becomes. Endurance is the companion to patience. While patience is about waiting calmly, endurance is about bearing the weight of hardship without breaking. Life will test you. It will present you with challenges that feel overwhelming at times. But endurance is what allows you to persist, to push forward even when the path is steep. Seneca described endurance as the ability to bear what you cannot change. It's about accepting that suffering is a part of life, and instead of being crushed by it, you use it as fuel for growth. In modern life, patience and endurance are more necessary than ever. We live in a culture of instant gratification where people expect immediate results and quick fixes. But real growth, real success, doesn't come from shortcuts. It comes from a sustained commitment to your goals through the ups and downs, the slow progress, and the moments of doubt. When you develop patience and endurance, you separate yourself from the masses who give up at the first sign of difficulty. One of the most profound aspects of cultivating patience and endurance is that it changes your relationship with time. Instead of seeing time as something to be beaten or manipulated, you start to view it as an ally. You realize that time is not the enemy, but a crucial ingredient in achieving lasting success and inner peace. With patience, you stop rushing, and with endurance, you stop quitting. You become more mindful, more focused, and more aligned with your true purpose. In Stoicism, patience and endurance are not just survival tools, they are paths to wisdom. When you patiently endure the trials of life, you learn from them. You gain insights into your own character, and you discover strengths you didn't know you had. You develop the ability to face future challenges with confidence, knowing that you have the inner resources to withstand whatever comes your way. To cultivate these virtues, start by embracing discomfort rather than avoiding it. When things don't go your way, resist the urge to react impulsively or give up. Practice patience in small, everyday situations, whether it's waiting in line, dealing with difficult people, or working towards a long-term goal. Over time, your patience will grow stronger and your endurance will deepen. Ultimately, patience and endurance aren't just about surviving the difficult moments in life. They're about thriving in them. By cultivating these virtues, you develop a calm, steady strength that will carry you through any storm. You gain the power to face life's challenges with grace and determination, knowing that nothing worth achieving comes without time and effort. Rule 26. Practice self-reliance. Self-reliance is a fundamental tenet of Stoic philosophy, embodying the spirit of independence and inner strength. It speaks to the idea that individuals must cultivate their own virtues, take responsibility for their actions, and trust in their capabilities to navigate life's challenges. In a world that constantly bombards us with external influences and distractions, the practice of self-reliance empowers us to reclaim our autonomy and forge our own paths. At its core, self-reliance encourages a deep understanding of oneself. The Stoics believed that true knowledge begins with self-awareness. To be self-reliant, one must first examine their beliefs, values, and motivations. This introspective journey allows individuals to distinguish between what they truly desire and what society expects of them. In doing so, they can align their actions with their authentic selves, free from the weight of external pressures. Self-reliance also emphasizes the importance of personal responsibility. Every decision we make and every action we take ultimately shapes our lives. The Stoics held the view that we are responsible for our thoughts and behaviors, regardless of external circumstances. This mindset fosters resilience, as it empowers us to respond to setbacks with a proactive attitude, rather than succumbing to victimhood. By recognizing that we hold the reins of our lives, we cultivate a sense of agency that strengthens our resolve and determination. Furthermore, self-reliance is a call to cultivate one's skills and abilities. The Stoics advocated for the pursuit of excellence through continuous learning and self-improvement. When we rely on ourselves, we recognize that we must develop the tools and knowledge necessary to achieve our goals. This means taking initiative, whether by seeking education, honing our skills, or embracing new experiences. By investing in ourselves, we build a foundation of competence that enhances our confidence and capability. In the face of adversity, self-reliance becomes a source of strength. Life is unpredictable, and challenges are inevitable. The Stoics taught that we must prepare ourselves mentally and emotionally to face difficulties head-on. When we embrace self-reliance, we are less likely to be thrown off course by external circumstances. Instead, we can draw upon our inner resources to navigate obstacles and setbacks with grace. This mindset fosters resilience and adaptability, enabling us to confront challenges as opportunities for growth rather than as insurmountable barriers. However, practicing self-reliance doesn't mean isolating oneself from others or rejecting help when needed. Instead, it encourages a balanced approach to relationships. A self-reliant individual recognizes the value of community and the support of others while maintaining their independence. They are not reliant on others for validation or happiness. Rather, They cultivate meaningful connections that enrich their lives. In conclusion, self-reliance is a powerful principle that resonates deeply within Stoic philosophy. By fostering self-awareness, embracing personal responsibility, and continuously improving ourselves, we can navigate life's challenges with confidence and resilience. The journey towards self-reliance is not a solitary endeavor, but a path that empowers us to connect meaningfully with ourselves and others. As we practice self-reliance, we cultivate the strength to face adversity, embrace opportunities, and ultimately live a life aligned with our true values and aspirations. Rule 27. Don't chase pleasure. Seek fulfillment. In a world that constantly bombards us with stimuli, distractions, and the allure of instant gratification, the Stoic principle of seeking fulfillment rather than mere pleasure becomes ever more vital. Pleasure, often fleeting and superficial, can lead to a cycle of dependency that ultimately undermines our happiness and sense of purpose. Stoicism, with its focus on virtue and inner strength, teaches us to look beyond the ephemeral joys of life and strive for a deeper sense of fulfillment. At its core, pleasure is a temporary state, a momentary high that can quickly dissipate, leaving behind a void. It's easy to get caught in the trap of chasing pleasurable experiences, whether they come from material possessions, entertainment, or even relationships. This pursuit can create a cycle of desire that leaves us perpetually wanting more, as the satisfaction we derive from these pleasures is often short-lived. The Stoics understood this well, emphasizing that real contentment comes not from external sources, but from cultivating inner virtues and understanding our true desires. Fulfillment, on the other hand, is rooted in a sense of purpose and alignment with our values. It goes beyond momentary satisfaction to encompass a broader sense of well-being. To seek fulfillment is to engage with life on a deeper level, focusing on what truly matters: our relationships, our passions, and our contributions to the world around us. The Stoics believe that fulfillment is achieved through the practice of virtue, which includes wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. By cultivating these qualities, we build a life that resonates with our core values and aspirations. One of the profound insights of Stoicism is that fulfillment often arises from embracing challenges rather than avoiding them. When we seek to grow and improve ourselves, we inevitably face obstacles. It's through these struggles that we develop resilience and character, which are essential components of a fulfilling life. Embracing hardship enables us to cultivate a sense of accomplishment and a deeper understanding of ourselves. Additionally, fulfillment is linked to our connections with others. Relationships grounded in mutual respect, love, and support contribute significantly to our sense of purpose. The Stoics emphasize the importance of community and social responsibility, reminding us that we are all interconnected. By engaging authentically with others and contributing to their well-being, we create a sense of fulfillment that transcends our individual desires. Rather than chasing superficial pleasures that might lead to isolation or emptiness, we can find deeper satisfaction in nurturing meaningful relationships. To cultivate fulfillment in our lives, we must shift our focus from immediate gratification to long-term goals. This involves setting intentions that align with our values and committing to the journey of personal growth. It requires patience and discipline, qualities that are central to Stoic philosophy. By investing our time and energy in pursuits that nourish our spirit and reflect our values, we can cultivate a life filled with purpose. In conclusion, the Stoic rule of not chasing pleasure but seeking fulfillment offers a powerful framework for living a meaningful life. It urges us to look beyond fleeting moments of joy and instead invest in our character, relationships, and personal growth. By embracing challenges, cultivating virtue, and nurturing connections, we can create a life that is not only fulfilling but also resilient in the face of life's inevitable ups and downs. Ultimately, fulfillment is a choice a conscious decision to pursue what truly matters, allowing us to navigate the complexities of life with grace and strength. Rule 28. Develop emotional resilience. Emotional resilience is the cornerstone of a well-lived life. In our pursuit of happiness and fulfillment, we often encounter setbacks, disappointments, and emotional turmoil. The Stoics recognize that life is inherently unpredictable, filled with both joy and sorrow. Therefore, developing emotional resilience is not just a recommendation, it is a necessity. At its core, emotional resilience is the ability to adapt to challenging situations, to bounce back from adversity, and to maintain a balanced perspective in the face of difficulties. It's about how we respond to events rather than the events themselves. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus famously stated, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This insight emphasizes that our responses define our experiences. To cultivate emotional resilience, we must first acknowledge that pain and hardship are part of life. Instead of fearing or avoiding these experiences, we should embrace them as opportunities for growth. When faced with challenges, ask yourself, what can I learn from this situation? How can I grow stronger? This mindset shift is crucial. It reframes adversity as a teacher rather than an enemy. The Stoics also taught the importance of emotional detachment. This does not mean becoming indifferent or uncaring. Rather, it means recognizing that our emotions, while valid, do not have to dictate our actions or define our identities. When we experience anger, sadness, or frustration, we can observe these feelings without letting them take control. Practicing mindfulness can help us achieve this state of awareness. By stepping back and observing our emotions as if we were third parties, we gain clarity and can respond more thoughtfully. Another powerful tool in building emotional resilience is the practice of gratitude. When we focus on what we are grateful for, even in difficult times, we shift our perspective from what is lacking to what is abundant in our lives. The Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "A good character, like a well-formed body, is the result of continued exercise." Practicing gratitude is a form of emotional exercise that strengthens our capacity to handle challenges. It is also vital to develop a strong support system. Resilience does not mean facing challenges alone. Surround yourself with people who uplift and encourage you. Engaging in meaningful conversations and sharing experiences with trusted friends or mentors can provide valuable insights and reinforce your emotional strength. Remember, even the Stoics had their networks of wise and supportive individuals. Finally, regular reflection is essential for emotional resilience. Take time to assess your responses to challenges and the lessons learned. Journaling can be a powerful tool for this process. Write down your thoughts and feelings, reflecting on what worked, what didn't, and how you can approach similar situations in the future with greater wisdom. In conclusion, developing emotional resilience is a lifelong journey. It requires self-awareness, practice, and the courage to face life's uncertainties head-on. The Stoics remind us that while we cannot control the events that occur in our lives, we can control how we respond to them. By cultivating resilience, we empower ourselves to navigate the storms of life with grace, strength, and unwavering confidence. Rule 29. Practice humility. Humility is not just a virtue. It is a fundamental quality that every individual must cultivate. In a world often consumed by pride, arrogance, and self-promotion, practicing humility becomes a revolutionary act. The Stoics understood that true strength comes not from boasting about one's accomplishments, but from recognizing one's limitations and imperfections. At its core, humility is about self-awareness. It invites us to examine our thoughts, actions, and motivations with honesty. This doesn't mean belittling ourselves or adopting a mindset of self-deprecation. Rather, it's about understanding our place in the grand scheme of things. As Marcus Aurelius famously noted, You are a little soul carrying around a corpse, reminding us that our existence is fleeting and that we are just a small part of a much larger universe. Embracing this perspective helps us appreciate our humanity and fosters a deeper connection to the world around us. Practicing humility enables us to be more open to learning and growth. When we acknowledge that we don't have all the answers, we become more receptive to new ideas, constructive criticism, and different perspectives. Humility frees us from the shackles of arrogance and allows us to engage with others without the need to prove ourselves or seek validation. It empowers us to seek wisdom from those we might ordinarily overlook, be it a mentor, a colleague, or even a child. The Stoics believed that every encounter holds the potential for learning if we approach it with an open mind. Moreover, humility fosters authentic relationships. When we are humble, we create an environment where others feel valued and heard. In a society that often prioritizes self-interest and competition, humility acts as a bridge, building genuine connections grounded in respect and empathy. The Stoic philosopher Seneca wisely advised, "If you wish to be rich, do not add to your money, but subtract from your desire." This principle extends beyond material wealth. In human relationships, the less we cling to our ego, the richer our connections become. In contrast, a lack of humility can lead to destructive behaviors. When we allow pride to dictate our actions, we become defensive and resistant to feedback. This not only stunts our personal growth, but can also alienate us from those around us. Arrogance breeds isolation, while humility fosters collaboration. Recognizing that we are all flawed and that we all have room for improvement helps us build a supportive community where everyone can thrive. In the realm of Stoicism, humility is closely linked to the understanding of fate and the impermanence of life. When we practice humility, we are reminded that life is unpredictable and that circumstances can change in an instant. This awareness allows us to remain grounded and prevents us from getting too caught up in our successes or failures. It teaches us to appreciate our achievements without letting them define us, reinforcing the idea that we are not above anyone else, no matter our status or accomplishments. Finally, embracing humility is an ongoing journey. It requires continuous self-reflection and a commitment to personal growth. It involves challenging our own beliefs, seeking feedback, and recognizing our biases. By practicing humility daily, we cultivate resilience and wisdom, equipping ourselves to face life's challenges with grace and poise. In conclusion, humility is not a sign of weakness. It is a powerful strength that enhances our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. It is a practice that invites us to listen more, learn more, and connect more deeply. By embodying humility, we not only elevate our own lives, but also inspire those around us to engage in a more meaningful, compassionate way. So let us take this Stoic principle to heart, embracing humility as a path toward true wisdom and fulfillment. Rule 30. Take responsibility for your actions. Taking responsibility for your actions is one of the most powerful principles rooted in Stoic philosophy, and it forms the bedrock of personal integrity and self-mastery. In a world that often encourages us to shift blame or deflect accountability, embracing this rule can set you apart as a leader in your own life. At its core, this rule emphasizes the importance of recognizing that your choices, behaviors, and responses are entirely yours to own. This perspective invites you to acknowledge that while you may not always have control over external events or circumstances, you absolutely have control over your reactions and decisions. By taking responsibility, you reclaim your power. This mindset liberates you from victimhood and allows you to navigate life with confidence and purpose. Consider the power of ownership in your daily interactions. When you make a mistake, whether at work or in your personal relationships, the instinct might be to justify, explain, or even deny your role in the situation. However, the Stoic approach urges you to confront your errors directly. Acknowledging your shortcomings not only fosters personal growth, but also builds trust and respect with those around you. When you take responsibility, you demonstrate that you are committed to self-improvement and willing to learn from your experiences. Taking responsibility also means being accountable for your successes. It's easy to attribute achievements to luck or external factors, but the Stoics challenge you to recognize your efforts and decisions that led to those outcomes. This not only cultivates a sense of pride and satisfaction, but reinforces the belief that you are the architect of your own life. By accepting both the good and the bad, you create a balanced perspective that enhances your resilience. Moreover, this principle extends beyond personal matters. It influences how you engage with society and your community. In an age where many point fingers and highlight failures in others, Stoicism calls for a more constructive approach. By taking responsibility for your own actions, you inspire those around you to do the same. You become a beacon of accountability, encouraging a culture where individuals acknowledge their roles in creating a positive environment. Another critical aspect of taking responsibility is the mental clarity it brings. When you blame others or external circumstances for your situation, you relinquish control. This can lead to feelings of helplessness and frustration. However, by taking ownership, you can identify the factors you can influence and focus on them. This clarity can lead to actionable solutions rather than paralyzing self-doubt. Finally, embracing responsibility for your actions can be a source of inner peace. It alleviates the burden of resentment and the emotional turmoil that arises from blame. When you stop pointing fingers, you create space for forgiveness, both for yourself and others. This allows you to move forward with a clearer mind and a more positive outlook. In summary, rule number 30. Taking responsibility for your actions stands as a testament to the Stoic philosophy of personal accountability and integrity. By adopting this rule, you empower yourself to navigate the complexities of life with confidence, resilience, and clarity. You shift from a passive role to an active participant in your own narrative, crafting a life characterized by intention and purpose. So embrace this principle. Take ownership and watch how it transforms not just your own life, but also the lives of those around you. Remember, true strength lies in accountability. We have more interesting videos about Stoicism and the way of life. If you want to watch a video about 12 Stoic secrets for doing your best, please click link above in the video. If you like the video, or you don't want to miss further videos about Stoicism, please share and subscribe. We will upload 2 videos weekly on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Rule 31. Prepare for the worst. Expect the best. This rule is rooted in one of the core Stoic principles, premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. This idea encourages us to mentally prepare for life's inevitable challenges by imagining potential hardships in advance. The key is not to become a pessimist or expect that bad things will always happen, but to be prepared for them when they do, while maintaining hope and optimism for the best outcomes. It's a delicate balance of resilience and positive expectation. Life is unpredictable, and hardship is unavoidable. The Stoics understood that while we can't control external events, we can control how we respond to them. By practicing premeditatio malorum, you mentally rehearse challenges you might face. It could be the loss of a loved one, a financial setback, a failure, or even a betrayal. You envision how these events would affect you emotionally and mentally, and you prepare yourself to handle them with composure and strength. But there's an important distinction here. This preparation is not about becoming cynical or constantly expecting the worst to happen. Instead, it's about fostering resilience and building emotional fortitude. You prepare yourself so that when difficulties arise, they do not catch you off guard, and you don't crumble under their weight. Seneca captured this perfectly when he said, "He robs present ills of their power, who has perceived their coming beforehand." By imagining the worst-case scenario, you reduce its ability to shake you when or if it arrives. At the same time, Stoics encourage us to maintain optimism, to expect the best. This part of the rule ensures that we don't become consumed by negativity or fear. While you mentally prepare for adversity, you move through life with a positive mindset. You aim for the best possible outcomes, knowing full well that not everything is within your control. You take action, push forward, and put effort into your goals with the belief that success is within reach. This balanced mindset is essential to living a fulfilling and productive life. If you only prepare for the worst, you risk falling into despair and losing motivation. But if you live in constant optimism without considering potential setbacks, you're likely to be devastated when life doesn't go as planned. Stoicism offers the middle ground. Expect great things, but always be ready for setbacks. An important aspect of this practice is that by preparing for the worst, you often realize that what you fear isn't as catastrophic as you initially imagined. Our fears tend to exaggerate potential problems. By confronting these fears in advance, you demystify them. For instance, if you're afraid of failure, imagine what would actually happen if you failed. Would it be the end of the world? Probably not. Would you be able to recover and learn from the experience? Almost certainly. By preparing for it mentally, you reduce its power over you. Ultimately, this rule teaches you to be realistic, yet hopeful. Life will present you with both joys and sorrows, triumphs and setbacks. By preparing for the worst, you build emotional resilience. By expecting the best, you fuel your ambition and maintain a sense of optimism. This balanced approach ensures that you are never defeated by hardship, nor blinded by idealism. It's the Stoic way of navigating life's unpredictability with strength and grace. In practice, this could mean taking proactive steps in your life. For example, if you're starting a business, plan for potential challenges like financial difficulties or competition, but work hard with the expectation that you'll succeed. If you're in a relationship, acknowledge that there may be tough times, but focus on building a loving, lasting bond. Mentally preparing for the worst doesn't mean living in fear. It means building resilience. And expecting the best keeps you focused, determined, and hopeful. In the end, Rule 31 is a call to live with both realism and optimism. Life will test you, but with the Stoic mindset of being prepared for challenges while expecting success, you can navigate it with confidence and strength. Rule 32. Practice voluntary discomfort. The idea of practicing voluntary discomfort is one of the most powerful and transformative principles in Stoicism. At first glance, it might seem counterintuitive. Why would anyone deliberately seek out discomfort when modern life is filled with comforts and conveniences? But the Stoics understood that by voluntarily stepping into discomfort, you build resilience, strengthen your willpower, and train yourself to endure hardship when life inevitably throws challenges your way. In essence, the Stoics believed that you must prepare your mind and body for the difficulties that will come in life, because they will come. The practice of voluntary discomfort is about toughening yourself mentally and physically, so that when adversity strikes, you are not only ready to handle it, but you face it with strength and resolve. The Stoics, especially thinkers like Seneca and Epictetus, encouraged practices that pushed individuals beyond their comfort zones. For Seneca, the practice of voluntary discomfort was a way to confront the things we fear and the things that hold us captive. He would sometimes live for a few days on minimal food and in simple clothing, not because he needed to, but because he wanted to remind himself that comfort is not a necessity. Seneca wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself all the while, Is this the condition that I feared? This approach wasn't about self-punishment, but about liberation. By experiencing discomfort voluntarily, you strip away the fear of losing material comforts and become more confident in your ability to endure. The core reason for practicing voluntary discomfort is to build resilience. Life is unpredictable. You might lose your job, experience failure, face rejection, or encounter a health crisis. If you've lived your life in a cocoon of comfort, these hardships can be overwhelming and destabilizing. However, if you've already trained yourself to handle discomfort through deliberate practice, you'll be much better equipped to stay calm, clear-headed, and in control when these difficult moments arrive. Physically, this can manifest as fasting, exercising in harsh conditions, taking cold showers, or going without luxuries for a period of time. These are small, controlled doses of discomfort that make you tougher. Mentally, voluntary discomfort can involve challenging yourself to face your fears, practicing self-discipline, or even embracing moments of boredom without distraction. These exercises strengthen your mind's capacity to endure stress, uncertainty, and discomfort in real life. In today's world, where everything is available at the push of a button, practicing voluntary discomfort is more relevant than ever. The conveniences of modern life can make us soft and overly reliant on comfort. Most people have become addicted to the ease of their routines, whether it's instant gratification through food delivery, the numbing effect of endless entertainment, or the luxury of constant temperature control. The more we indulge in these conveniences, the more fragile we become when things don't go according to plan. When you deliberately choose discomfort, you break this cycle. You remind yourself that you don't need these luxuries to survive or thrive. By fasting, for example, you realize that hunger is not something to be feared. It's a sensation that passes. By enduring physical strain and exercise, you learn that your body is stronger than you might have imagined. And by practicing stillness without distraction, you learn that your mind doesn't need to be constantly entertained. It can find peace in simplicity. The Stoics saw voluntary discomfort as a path to freedom. When you've trained yourself to live with less and endure more, you are no longer controlled by the fear of discomfort. You become less dependent on external circumstances for your happiness and more reliant on your inner strength. This creates a sense of freedom that few people experience. The freedom to face any situation with the confidence that you will not only survive, but thrive. When you are unafraid of discomfort, you become dangerous to the things that typically control others: fear, anxiety, uncertainty. You're no longer at the mercy of your environment because you've built the mental and physical fortitude to endure anything life throws at you. This is what the Stoics meant by living in accordance with nature, embracing the reality that life is not always easy, but it doesn't have to be feared. In summary, practicing voluntary discomfort isn't about punishing yourself. It's about preparing yourself. It's a conscious choice to build resilience, to sharpen your mind, and to remind yourself that comfort is not a necessity. When you master this practice, you free yourself from the chains of fear, material dependence, and weakness, and become a stronger, more capable version of yourself, ready to handle life's inevitable challenges with strength and grace. We've now completed the 32 Stoic rules, each a timeless lesson in mastering life's challenges with courage, wisdom, and discipline. Remember, these rules are not just ideas, they're a call to action. A challenge to rise above the distractions, the temptations, and the chaos of everyday life. Stoicism isn't a philosophy to read about, it's a philosophy to live by. Take these rules and implement them daily. Build your resilience, sharpen your focus, and develop the inner strength that the Stoics believed was the true source of human power. Life will test you, but with these principles, you'll not only endure those tests, you'll thrive. I'm proud you made it this far. Perseverance is already your strong point. Till the next time, stay strong and live wisely.